I'm joined today by Alden Kemp. He's host of the Arizona Sports Show. Alden, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on here. You got a good show running through here, man. It's pretty good.
Oh,
Like what
thank
you're
you.
doing so
Thank you.
far.
Man, ever since I joined IE Sports, even my channel has gotten much more, it's more subscribers, more everything. So it's been great. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. And being able to talk to guys like you, especially, makes it even funner. So, Alden, we got a game coming up this Sunday where the Cardinals come to Levi Stadium, take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals took on, well, let's do this. Talk about their game this past Sunday.
Yeah, so we're coming off a very brutal loss against the Commanders. Yeah,
You're like,
42,
thanks.
42 to 14. Coming into this game, I thought it'd be at least a high scoring game, and it was just not for us. Um, Both defenses coming into that game were at the very bottom or close to it. I always talk about our biggest weakness on this team has always been the run defense, and they let Jane Daniels and whoever was backfield. They didn't have Austin Eckler for that game, so I thought that our run defense would at least get something going a little bit. But and
Mhm.
we looked good at the beginning of the game too. We scored on the opening drive. Marvin Harrison got his fourth touchdown of the year, so he's looking pretty good so far. But ever since the opening drive, Jane Daniels just delivered when he needed to, and former ASU had sucked root against him, but they came into our building and they demolished us. So we're 1-3 right now, and coming into this week for San Francisco on the road, it's not looking good for us, but looking forward to it at least. So
Well, and here's the thing too: is that you guys still have Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is still playing at a very high level. We saw what he did in Week 1. We saw what he did in Week 2. I mean, the guy obviously shows he has talent. And Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, the first couple of weeks he didn't do much, but then now he's turning into a huge target for Kyler Murray. And so I was excited that they got Marvin Harrison Jr. He was one of the top receivers to come out of the draft. Him and Malik Neighbors, I want to say, were like the top two. And so they've really kind of turned that offense around. Although, yes, last week they had kind of a tough time. But when you look at the overall offense for the Cardinals, right now they're ranked 12th in total offense. The Niners are ranked second in total offense. When you look at defense, where'd it go? On defense, the
ooh,
Niners are ranked ninth in total defense. The Cardinals are ranked 25th in total defense. So
yep.
but here's the thing: when you're going against a division rival, it sort of re-energizes everybody. We saw what happened a couple weeks ago when the Niners took on the Rams. Everyone was like, "Oh, the Niners are going to go in there and just steamroll the Rams." Instead, they started to. They were up 21-7, and they completely collapsed and blew that game. So I think there's a chance that could that happen again? Anything could happen on Sunday, but Kyler Murray is the guy I'm more worried about. His mobility, his accuracy, and his ability to keep the play going and to get out of the pocket. That's what I'm most worried about. What do you think about Kyler Murray so far this year?
Yeah, Kyler, a lot of people like blaming Kyler Murray, especially our own fan base. But I mean, look at his touchdown interception ratio: 6 touchdowns and only one interception. So he's not turning the ball over. He's not,
No.
making a bunch of and the only interception he had was when he was trying to get it to Marvin Harrison Jr. in time in the end zone so we can tie the game. So that's the only garbage. It was really a garbage time pick if you think about it against Detroit. So other than that, he's not turning the ball over. He's not fumbling anymore. He's reading the defense as well. That's something he had a big issue with when he first came into the league, and he doesn't drop back 7 to 10 yards like he used to do when he first came in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So he is improving. He's not getting worse or anything like that. But um, I do somewhat understand it when, a lot of fans are impatient with Kyler Murray. It's year 6. He's only been to the playoffs once. He's dealt with a handful of injuries in his career. So, the criticism towards Kyler Murray can somewhat be justified. But this season, if there's anybody to blame, it's the defensive coordinator and obviously the head coach when it comes to making second half adjustments. That's been the Cardinals' biggest weakness this season is being able to make the right adjustments in the second half because our numbers in the first half look pretty good this year so far. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
that last year too. We were a first half team, but in the second half, we were known for blowing a lot of games, letting the other team go on, scoring on unanswered points, this and that over and over again. And Yeah, the defense, they're 25th right now. It's all about that run defense. And even though the Niners won't have Christian McCaffrey for this game, I mean, Jordan Mason is still killing it. So, and
Absolutely.
I looked up since Kyle Shanahan was the coach of the Niners, I think it was 7 running backs that have gone over the 100 yard mark in at least one
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah.
it clearly it doesn't matter who's in the backfield for Kyle Shanahan, they will get it done. So even without CMC, and I think Debo was out for a little bit too. I'm not sure if he's playing, but it it doesn't matter who's injured for the Niners. They're a very deep offense, very deep team, and they're very talented. And it's gonna really be a big issue for the Cardinals defense. But as far as Kyler Murray goes, I I like what I'm seeing so far, and hopefully he can continue to build off of it.
Yeah, I know. I think so. And rocking new Area 84 is right. Only 4 likes. Come on, guys, smash the like button. Um,
Yeah, right.
but for the Cardinals, I mean, you're looking at the 28th ranked run defense. They're giving up 146 and a half yards to. That's the average they're giving up. And
Yeah.
Jordan Mason is rushing for just about 100 to 120 yards a game. So that's going to be a big thing for them. I think that the Niners are going to look to really, really run the ball on them and really take advantage of that weaker run defense. But the Niners are ranked 6th in run defense, so I think that Connor is going to have a much harder time running the football. They looked better last week. I mentioned this earlier. I know we lost Javon Hargrave, but I thought that you saw more guys stepping up, and you saw a better pass rush without Javon Hargrave. I felt like Hargrave just sort of clogged everything up, and now that he's out of the way, now guys are running free. So that's going to be interesting to see how their defense plays against the Cardinals. They had a really good showing against the New England Patriots, but I mean, look, Patriots suck.
Yeah.
So they should have dominated, and they did. And so that's a positive. If they would have just barely won that game, I'd have been like, holy shit, what is going on? But no, they played really well. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr., let me find his numbers real quick, because this guy actually has been playing really good in the past few weeks, and he's becoming one of the more dynamic receivers in the league. Where is he at? Here he is. So far, he has 243 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. And his game logs is what I wanted to look at, because the first couple of weeks he didn't do much.
First week, yeah.
He had, in the first week he only had 1 catch, and he had 4 catches for 2 touchdowns. Then he had 5 catches for a touchdown, another 5 catches for a touchdown. So he's scoring at a high rate, and he's becoming one of Kyler Murray's favorite targets. Obviously, he has guys like Dortch out there as well. And Zay Jones. But at the same time, this guy is a high-profile player, so I think that he'll be matched up with Charvarius Ward, and we'll see how that kind of plays out. The Niners' pass defense hasn't been that great this year, but they did make some changes to the secondary, which have helped out quite a bit. They should get Talanoa Hufanga back in the as their safety. But the pass rush needs to step up, and they did last week. I'm hoping to do the same thing again versus Arizona. But the hard part with Arizona is that even if you get a good pass rush on Kyler Murray, he has the ability to slip out of the pocket and really, keep that play going and keeping his eyes downfield. That's where he really excels, and that's what has me the most worried, is that if Kyler Murray can't beat you over the top, then he's going to start running. He's going to start getting out of the pocket and running for those first downs. And that could be a huge problem for the Niners, who historically have not done well against running quarterbacks. And I think that Kyler Murray has that ability to really take off. When he starts going at full speed, the guy's hella fast. And plus, he has a low center of gravity, so he's just like, so we'll see if they can contain him. What do you think, Alden? Do you think that Kyler will have a good opportunity to run the football against the Niners defense?
Well, last week he only ran the ball once for 3 yards. And our offensive line has, aside from Paris Johnson Jr., who I've loved since day one, aside from our left tackle to protect his blind side, there's not really a lot of guys that have really been holding down the fort for Kyler Murray. I mean, I know the Commanders, I'm well aware they have a good defense. They have a defensive-minded coach. They had a very good pass rush. But every single time, it feels like whenever Kyler snaps the ball, he doesn't have time to look at his options, right? He looks at Marvin Harrison Jr. They game plan him for sure, and he's double covered. And it's hard for him, and obviously because Trey McBride is out too, our tight end, he's out with a concussion. And
And
so
he's
that
really good too.
yeah, and that took away his number 2 option. So, we had guys like Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch who made a couple of plays here and there. But, the Cardinals, ever since we hired Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing as our coordinator, they've been known as a run first team. So, and we signed James Conner to be able to hold down the fort. We drafted Trey Benson out of Florida State, who I thought was a great pick, but they're not really using him a lot. So it'd be nice to see Trey Benson get involved a lot more too. But if the Niners bring the pressure on Kyler Murray, and I actually didn't know Hargrave was out. I didn't know that, so that's
He's
very
out for the
big for.
year.
He's out for the year. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. So
he
yeah,
tore his
that's big.
tricep. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's big. So if the Niners, which they've been known for their pass rush for a very long time, so if they get to Kyler Murray, he's obviously he's got to make plays on his leg. But what I've noticed ever since Kyler Murray came back from his ACL tear, he hasn't been running the ball as much. It's almost like he's terrified of tearing his knee again or something like that. Like he hasn't been running the ball a lot. He hasn't really been running out of the pocket as much either. The only time he does is when he has no choice because once again we go back to the O line. They don't protect him that much. So it's almost like Kyler Murray is trying to develop as a pocket passer now, which he is. I mean, his accuracy is on point. He can make open throws, this and that. But against this Niners defense, especially with the rankings from what we've seen, Kyler Murray is going to have to use his legs in this game. And if he does, I mean, I put we all know what he's capable of when he's fully healthy. He puts up MVP numbers when he's fully healthy. So
Yeah,
a lot of
I mean, looking at what you're talking about, their offensive line. I mean, in the first game against Buffalo, gave up 4 sacks, and then one sack, and then another 4 sacks against when they went up against Washington, who's a really young team as well. But looking at his rushing, yeah, he only ran once against Washington for 3 yards, but in the 3 games prior against Buffalo, he had 5 rushes for 57 yards, 5 rushes for 59 yards against the Rams, and then another 5 rushes for 45 yards. I mean, he's averaging about 10 yards per run, which is he's averaging a first down every time he runs the ball. So that's what really worries me about, especially getting him off the field on 3rd down. But when you look at their overall schedule, I mean, in all intents and purposes, they probably should have won that first game at Buffalo. They should have stole that game, and unfortunately, Buffalo came storming back and won that game, which was I was like, holy crap!
I feel like we should be. I feel like we should be 3-1 right now because the Buffalo game. I mean, if Kyler makes that throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. at the end of the game where he was wide open, we would have won that. The Detroit game, we had so many opportunities. Our defense showed up for once, and our offense couldn't deliver. And the refs. I don't like complaining about the refs, but they did take away a pick 6 from us, so that didn't help.
Well, the refs are atrocious this year, especially. They've been terrible.
Yeah, so I really feel like if it wasn't for those couple mistakes, we could be a 3-1 team right now. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and
what are you gonna do, right? I mean, it's like. And then you see the calls that like teams like the Chiefs are getting. It's absolutely atrocious.
Right.
It just sucks. It sucks it sucks when the refs are dictating the game. When it's like, bro, just let them play. Right. I mean, you saw against the Falcons. I mean, that dude had his head buried in the Falcons' in that receiver's stomach. You know what I mean? And they were just like. Okay, I look clean. I look good.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, what? The whole world is like, what are you talking about? You know, it's like unbelievable. So as we round things out, let's go into our score predictions. What do you see the score being at the end of the game against for Cardinals Niners?
Yeah, so I do. Every time we do play the Niners, I feel like it's a very competitive game, right? Every time we play this team, no matter how good or how bad either of our teams are, it is a very close game. But heading to San Francisco with the injuries we're dealing with, we don't have Trey McBride. We might not even have Budda Baker either. He's questionable, so that's very big for us.
That's
I
huge.
am gonna. Yeah, I do want to pick my team, but unfortunately, under those kind of circumstances, I'm gonna say the Niners take this one 31-27.
31-27. Yeah, I think it is gonna be a closer game. And so I'm going to go 27-21 Niners.
All right.
I think they'll be able to pull away from them and Because at the end of the day, I don't see the Cardinals defense being able to stop them. And Kyle Shanahan really isn't a coach that likes to run up the score. So I
Right.
think, 27 or 30 points is where he likes to have them, kind of sit. So I'm saying 27-21 Niners. I think the Cardinals scored another touchdown towards the end of the game, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But like I said, like we all said, we could be dead wrong, and it could be a game where all of a sudden, it's 17-17 in the fourth quarter. You're like, what the hell's going on here? But I think based on the way they played against the Patriots, I think we're going to see a lot more of that against the Cardinals. And I think that the Niners are, trending upwards in terms of, getting more wins than losses. They had a really bad loss against the Rams. They actually played the Vikings really good. I mean, they were in the game until the very end. You look at the following 2 weeks after that Vikings loss, the Vikings took on CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, and they took on Jordan Love and the Packers, and they completely blew them out. Well, the Packers came back and then just shit the bed at the very end, but it was still a blowout at one point. So it shows you how good that defense can really be. Once Jordan Love started to get his leg loose, and he started playing a lot better. But we'll see how that kind of plays out. And also, I mean, I think James Conner can be a real factor in this game. But the only thing is that you look at his game logs. Let me see where he's at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in week 2 against the Rams, 122 yards. In week 3 against the Lions, only 17 yards rushing.
Yeah,
104 last week against the Washington Commanders, but their defense sucks. But only look, when you tell me that James Conner is going to run for 104 yards and a touchdown, and you lose 42-14, you're like, wait, what? Shouldn't that have been a lot closer of a score? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy. So he has a chance, but I think Niners defense is playing better against the run, but we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But like I said, I'm predicting the score to be 27-21 Niners, and you said, and what was your prediction?
31-27.
31-27. Closer, high-scoring game.
Yeah. I just can't trust our run defense right now. I mean, I feel like once they get the run going, and Purdy makes he can just extend the plays throwing. Our defense.
Well, let me ask you that. I mean, what do you think so far about Brock Purdy? Being an Arizona fan.
Yeah. He's doing his thing. I mean, I never understood the criticism he got. I mean, sure, he's got weapons around him. Of course he's going to look good, but at the same time, I mean, who's the one throwing them the ball? It's Brock Purdy. It's not like he's overthrowing them, underthrowing them, this and that. I mean, I mean, Arizona native too, by the way. So,
oh yeah,
he's definitely doing his thing right now, and credit to him. I mean, after losing that Super Bowl, I mean, that's what you should expect them to do. Go out there and want to win it even more. So, and the Niners, all the Niners have to do, from what I've seen from the Niners in the past, all they have to do really is just get in. If they get in, it doesn't matter who they play in the playoffs. They'll be competitive. They'll have a chance to win. All they have to do is just worry about getting in and then go from there. And Brock Purdy is doing what it takes to get there. So he's doing his thing.
All right. Well, there you have it. Alden, I want to thank you for coming on here and talking to me about Niners Cardinals. This was a lot of fun. And we'll do it again later this season when they meet up again in Arizona. I think they play twice a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do it again later this season when they play in Arizona. Alden, thank you so much, man. And hey,
thank you.
What do you got going on for the rest of the week? Where can everyone find you at?
Yeah, so every Friday, 1:00 Pacific Standard Time, AZ Sports Zone. I just go live on there. I mainly talk about Cardinals, Suns, Diamondbacks. This week it's going to be hard to talk about 2 of those teams, but so I talk about ASU and U of A football as well. Mm-hmm. And then occasionally I'll go live for the Cardinals games on my personal channel, which is always Arizona Sports. I just do hangout streams with me and my buddies on my personal channel. So if you guys like hanging out, watching sports, talking sports, then that's what I do on my personal channel. But as far as IE Sports Radio, like I said, every Friday at 1:00 Pacific Standard Time, that's when I go live for 1 hour and talk about my suffering Arizona teams. So find me on there. Yep.
Well, at least you got the D-backs and they're in the playoffs. There you go.
No, they actually missed it.
Oh, they did?
They missed it. Yep.
That sucks.
And
I stopped paying attention because the Giants got eliminated weeks ago. So I was like, oh.
The Giants will be better, though. I know that now.
Well, we'll see.
When I saw Farhan get fired, I was like, yep, they're going to get better now.
I know. I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. Alden, thanks a lot, bro.
Yep. Thank you, man.
We'll see you next time.